Welcome and or welcome back to the channel. My name is Sarah and today we're going to talk about Should You Read? And this time we're going to talk about 3 books: The Fairy Bargains of Prospect Hill, The Circumference of the World, and The Water Outlaws. We're going to start this off lowest to highest. So starting with The Fairy Bargains of Prospect Hill by Rowena Miller. This is the story of 2 sisters who grow up in a southern tradition of fairy bargains. They're taught from an early age how to make small bargains with the fae in a fairy circle or on the land that their family is native to. Their family has lived on for generations. They're not natives. And they've grown up. One sister has become more reliant on the bargains and one has decided to marry and move away and doesn't really want to mess with the bargains at all. And the story kind of follows the two as the younger sister leaves, gets married, and her husband becomes a man she did not expect him to become. And the older sister kind of comes into her own and takes over the family business, runs the family orchard, that sort of thing. There is a plot point through of the older sister constantly making bargains to the point where she over bargains, and then consequences. I was at first a big fan of this. I thought the setting and the voice was really appropriate. I liked the almost Regency Victorian feeling of it. It takes place in the early 1900s, but it's written in that older style, that tone. But ultimately this one was too slow for me. I ended up giving this like a 2.5. I don't know that I would recommend it. I don't know if this is a you should read. I think if you're very interested in a slow, whimsical fantasy, but you don't want anything super surprising, you want something kind of predictable, then this could be a pick for you, but otherwise it might be a skip. One of my big problems, aside from it being fairly predictable, is that there is a clear power imbalance between the 2 sisters, where I think perhaps she was attempting to make the two equal in story and ability, but different choices, right? You know, every sibling has their strength. This one, you could see what she was going for, but she didn't succeed. And it just kind of bothered me. Also, I really despise the story trope that she went with in the final conflict of this. I saw it coming a mile away, and I was really unhappy that we had to use it. If you have read the book and you've watched any of my videos, you know what I'm talking about. It just wasn't for me. Wasn't a read for me. So I have to say that's probably a pass for me. The next one is a solid 3.5, and that's The Water Outlaws by S.L. Wong. This one is vastly different. Also fairly slow. At least it was for me. Some people have said otherwise. I guess it depends on taste. But this follows a woman who is a imperial trainer in this big army, and she trains soldiers. She is very honorable. This book is based on, I believe it's pronounced wuxia movies, like martial arts movies, that sort of thing. She is someone who trains the warriors in this army. At the beginning of the book, I will say it happens within 50 pages. There is an attempted sexual assault on page. It's kind of graphic for the extent that we get of it, and she is charged with treason for defending herself, and she is cast out. There are other machinations in play, and instead of being executed, she is sent away from the capital and falls in with a band of outlaws, the Water Outlaws. She becomes a trainer for that group, and we follow her, and we also follow another woman still living at the capital who gets involved in the government and some like shady government experiments and plans, and how the two sort of start to come together. Not so much come together as their plans and their stories collide. I loved some of the characters in this. I loved some of the scenes in this. My big gripe with it though was it was a lot of telling. She told us a lot of things, a lot of introspection, a lot of thoughts from the characters. We saw a lot less than we were told, and so it made for long stretches of just talking, our character talking and monologuing in their head. A little bit of editing or trimming down and this would have been amazing. I would have loved this. And this does set itself up for a series fairly well. I am on the fence if I will continue it. I might wait and check it out from the library if a second book does come out, because there was that much just talking. I'm gonna be real with you. I was reading this riding back from a vacation, about 6 or 7 hour trip, and I would read it to take a nap on the drive because it would put me to sleep. So I guess that gives you really my thoughts on that one. Wasn't bad, but it was incredibly dull at times. And it did have some moments of great action sequences, and I really liked some of the little bit of magic that we got with the god fangs and the martial arts, but there just wasn't enough of it for my taste. So this is a, you know, if you really want to read it, if you really love that genre, which is why I picked it up, maybe give it a try. If you are not a fan of slow and you want some like wuxia, like martial arts type things, look into Danmei. You might have more luck. Just saying, this is a maybe. I don't know that I would solidly recommend this one. But we will cap it out with a 5-star, and that is the book that I have been manhandling this whole time. And that's The Circumference of the World by Lavi Tidhar. I love Lavi Tidhar. Last year I read Nyom by this author and absolutely loved that. And this one was not a disappointment. This is a science fiction, fantasy, sort of almost story about a religion that is not based on any real life religion. Not at all. And the repercussions of that religion we look at possibly, is the person who created the religion mad? Was he mad? Was he mentally unwell? Or did he actually see and experience the things that he wrote about to create this religion? Now, to get to that point, this story is told in like stacking stories. We start with a woman and her husband. He is a mathematician and he becomes obsessed with this book that is supposed to protect him from these beings that will eat him, and he goes missing, and so she hires a detective to find him. Her story, short, and it ends, and then his story begins as he investigates this missing man. His story goes through, very interesting. In fact, one of the scenes in his story is going to live rent-free in my brain, and I am never going to look at like street preachers and door-to-door like religious proselytizers again the same. Like, wow. And then from him we meet this like crime boss, and then on and on and on and on, till eventually by the last third you realize just what's going on. And especially if you know your religion, cult history, I think you'll pick up on what's going on, and that's what makes it great. I was reading the last half the whole time going, he did that. I loved this. Fantastic book. I tabbed and annotated the hell out of this. I highly recommend it for my short format readers. If you like stacking short stories, if you like vignette style stories, if you like weird sci-fi with weird, almost kind of meta plot lines, this is a yes. Also, this does talk a little bit about the golden age of science fiction, so that is also a fantastic little tidbit to add on. If you like that era and that history, pick this up. I highly, highly recommend this one. But that's it for these Should You Reads. I should have one more of these coming very soon with another 5-star read, so look forward to that. Let me know down below if you've read any of these, what your thoughts are, and do you like Lavi Tidhar? Am I alone? I love these books. Anyway, let me know all that down below, and I will talk to you guys again real soon. Thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye.